Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special Got Something for you. I say it's special because we have Phil back.
Woo! I'm back. Happy to be back. And it's so wild. I was thinking about it. I said it's not every Saturday that we get all three of us here, and it's a shame, but I'm happy that we got it today. This is great.
Yeah, this makes me so happy. It's like the family's back together. Phil, I just want to hear from you because you missed the past couple of episodes. I mean, has the season still been as good for you as it was for us?
I have been loving this season. I'm so happy that you're starting with this, just like sort of overall take of the season. I have really liked this season. I think that the editing is better than it's been in years. And I think that the contestants it's so easy to sort of buy into their stories and become attached to them. I'm really digging this season a lot. What about you?
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the editing because especially in this episode, I cannot wait to talk about the beginning because I feel like they did do something different. But yeah, I feel like the storytelling is back. I think before season 40, before Winners at War, it was very narrative driven. Like they were kind of forcing stories into the season. Then after in the new era with those first couple of seasons, it was like, oh, we're going to focus on the contestants, not so much telling an overarching story. But now I feel like it's a really great mix of both. I kind of felt it in Survivor 45, but now I feel it here too. I mean, Ollie, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I have been enjoying the season. And personally, I don't know. Maybe not as much as both of you, but I've still been enjoying the season. I think the editing. Oh, I know. I think the editing definitely has been like top tier. Like the editing, just even throughout the seasons, as we've all kind of said, they've all just been getting better and better. And I think this episode is no exception. I've really been enjoying the editing.
Ollie, is it because of your draft team?
No.
Okay.
Can I ask?
No, actually.
Let's get more specific. What is dragging the season down for you, Ollie?
Okay, that was a weird response.
I don't want to say because I don't want to get cancelled. No, I'm joking.
Cancelled?
No, I'm joking. I feel like there is just with the players for me this season, it is either I really like them or I can't be bothered with them. Like that's where I'm at with the players.
Can I say something? I in a weird way kind of agree with that. But I think that for me, that's what makes a good cast. You have a cast of characters that are making you feel something. I don't want to feel on the fence or completely ambivalent about any of these people. I want you to make me like you, root against you, one or the other. I want you to do something, And so I am in a similar place. I've had other seasons where I go, I don't care about half these people. And in my opinion, that is the worst cast ever. If I'm looking at a bunch of people and I go, I don't care if they win or lose. It doesn't matter to me. I don't like that. I like to root against people and root for people.
I'm with Bill on this one. I mean, that's what makes this season so exciting to me. And also, huge shout out to Amy. Drive safe, and thank you so much for listening to us on your journey. But definitely. We'll hear from you when you get there. But why don't we get into today's episode where we kind of started out in a similar place that we started out in the last episode, which was Rachel alone on the beach. And she confirmed that it was, in fact, a strategy to play her shot in the dark to gauge reactions, which we all sort of talked about. I mean, great move. I know it was sort of last episode, but Phil, was that also your impression of that move?
Yeah, I was really into that move. And I'm going to be honest, I hate to be the guy that's like, oh, I swear I've always thought this would be a great move. But I have always thought, I said, what if you used the shot in the dark a little bit more defensively? You use it as a gauge to go, what are other people doing when I play this? And to see it actually pay off and work and work for her, at least in this scenario, is really cool. I am worried that maybe someone takes this into a future situation, and now that we've seen it, people are a little bit more aware of how their facial reactions might be sort of changing as someone plays a shot in the dark. But I thought it was great.
Yeah, I always thought facial expressions and reactions were super important to a tribal council. And also, like, I feel like when we've seen idols being played in the past too, it's like sometimes people put on a show in terms of their reaction to get someone to react a certain way. But I get what you're saying, Phil. I think it was, it is interesting, especially like I love when players do something for the first time, and I'm like, oh, how is this going to
Yes.
change for future players?
Yes. And if I can say, Matt, I just want to throw up Eleanor's comment here too. Oh man, I'm sorry, Ollie. I love the fact that her not having to vote against Gabe seemed like it's also going to be helpful panning out in the future as well. So I really into that. Just using the shot in the dark to not have to sell yourself out where you're going to vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, we know that Gata was on the receiving end of that blind side with Sierra being voted out. And Sam, I was with Saul on this one. I liked Sam's approach to like how he came about. He was, he was okay. Like I liked how he came about it. I don't have the words.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I think that's why you have to do it. You can't come back and be, flip the whole tribe over, because then people go, okay, one, if this happens again, what's he going to do?
Right.
But then two, we can't work with this guy, So I think that he did a real good job here.
Yeah, agreed. I think he was able to kind of just he knew how he needed to react in this situation with these players, because I think this group of players respect people that aren't just going to be like, oh god, like him just being cool, calm, and collected and going like, it's a game, I get it, like let's move on. I think resonated with more people, not just Soul. I think it definitely resonated with others like Teeny as well.
Which is so interesting because I've had, we've seen this before where let's say I blindsided Phil and Ollie, you were in an alliance and I blindsided one of the two of you. And we come back to the beach and Phil, let's say you're like, oh, I'm okay with it. Like I get the move. I respect the move. I might go back and be like, oh, I don't know if Gabe, I don't know if Phil can trust me moving forward in the game. So it's interesting that Saul had that reaction in the moment of like, you know what? Sam got it. We're good. But like they all kind of seeing here on the screen, like they all kind of decide, okay, well, Gabe's going to be the next to go. And I knew Gabe wasn't going to be the next to go when it's brought up this early in the episode.
And on the teaser, it was brought up on the teaser for this episode as well. And it's like, this is screaming red herring. There's no way this is happening. But that said, I don't think that I ever would have guessed that it would be Saul tonight. So Survivor, it did surprise me. I do not think that I would have called Saul at the start of the show. But I probably could have called that it was not going to be Gabe because there was just so much early heat on him.
Wait, but you know what's funny? I thought it was going to be Teeny. Just based on the screen time in this beginning part, I thought it was going to be someone red. I did, but I didn't think it was going to be Saul.
That's interesting. Did you have any early thought as to who you thought it might be, Ollie?
No, honestly, I was hoping when the teasers came out that my wishes were going to be true. But I had I thought Kyle maybe, just because of obviously the challenging things, because his luck can't run out, keep going for that long. I wasn't necessarily thinking it would be a Lavo until kind of there was a point, and it was before the immunity, but I can't think of when it was. I'd have to get back to you, but there was a point where I thought maybe it could be a Lavo, but I still wasn't sure until kind of it was later on when Genevieve was fully like, screw it.
I gotta say, I'm impressed with both of you. I do not think that I even had it being a Lavo necessarily. I thought that maybe, honestly, we'd see Sam and Andy go after one another. I think that is sort of what I thought coming after last episode. I was like, we are gonna see Sam and Andy go to war, and we have no clue which one of them is gonna go home. That was what I thought.
See, I didn't think that was going to happen purely because of this scene. And how Sam reacted. I felt like Sam was like, there is no point in just going for it straight away. I've got to bide my time. And I think that's why I kind of like Sam as a player. He knows when to strike and when not to. And I think he kind of knew I just need to lay low. I just need to kind of bide my time at this moment. I didn't think he was going to go for Andy because I feel like he would have felt like it was too soon.
I don't think Andy's name even came up in this conversation. I mean, maybe just to say Andy flipped or something, but you're right, Ollie. It didn't really go in that direction. Eleanor's with me, worried it was going to flip onto Teeny. I mean, yeah, I thought that was present in the edit. But here's where, Phil, you were talking about the edit of the season earlier before we started, and this sequence with Andy and Rachel I thought was so interesting because they spent so much time on the conversation between these two and outlining what their relationship has been with flashbacks, with reminders. Like, this was awesome.
Let's talk about it. Why are they showing us this? Let's talk about it. Why are they showing us this? We got this whole entire flashback. They reminded us of their entire journey together, and it didn't come to fruition in this episode at all. Why are they showing us this?
Final two? I don't think.
That's really what you think?
Yeah. I think they're going to both be in the final three. Prediction.
Wow. Ollie?
I don't know. What I got from it was Andy's actually screwed over Rachel a lot more times than she has him. And I feel like for me, this was more so a case of like, yes, I will work with Andy, but I will get the last laugh. That's what I interpreted this with Rachel, because it's like Rachel kind of literally openly said, like, he screwed me over with the Annika vote, and then he screwed me over again with this vote. All I've done was when he was having his little panic attack, like day 2, I just said, I'm just going to leave you to it. So when we compare like how they've been, I think Rachel was kind of sat there being like, I don't necessarily owe Andy anything. I'm going to use this to my advantage, but just so you know, I am keeping score. That's what I got from it.
Very interesting. Yeah, I was curious. I was curious. I just saw this and it felt so deliberate for them to show us this.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't pay off in this episode at all. So I'm so confused as to why they wanted us to see that. And I do think it's going to come to fruition eventually. Do I think that they are just like, let's throw it in for no reason? Absolutely not. I think this has a purpose. We have not seen it yet. That's my thought.
I also, to that point, like, this is where I think it's not just an episodic story just for this episode. Like, I think it's going to play out. Like, I don't see either one of those two going home next week per se. And I think the conversation, I mean, what I got from it was the conversation kind of ended with, I think it was Rachel being like, we've been kind of at odds. Our relationship has been rocky, but let's see if we can kind of come together and work together like seriously. And I think they started off at a good spot because I think at this point Rachel asked, like, who are you most nervous about? And I think Andy gave the appropriate response, which is the obvious response, which is Kyle, because of challenge. Like, that's an easy one to write off. But I hope, because I like them both so much, I really, really hope that this is the story that they're telling. And Ollie, as much as I respect that opinion, I really hope that they don't turn against each other unless it's the very end.
Have to wait and see.
Roy Jolly says they wanted to give us another view of Andy's beautiful hair. That is true. I do think the hair
could be the case. That could be the case. That could be the case.
They said, "Oh, it's blowing in the wind. Get it. Get it."
Right. And let's flash back to every single time that it's done that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I could go onto the island with long hair, but that's a different conversation. Then, I mean, did anything else really happen? Because the immunity challenge is up next in our discussion points. Not really.
No, it was really these two major conversations, and then pick your people.
Pick your people, and they're told that they're going to break into pairs, and we get this. I knew it was a stage thing. Like, I had a flashback to Phil.
Did anything happen before this? We figured out how they got into their pairings. I think that's a good thing to talk about here.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Yeah, I think that's a really, really big thing to talk about because despite Andy and Sam once again not getting along with Last Tribal, it is really interesting that when they get this note that says, "Oh, you have to go into pairs," Sam picks Andy. He goes, "All right, Andy, you and I. It's us. It's the bros again." And Andy even said, he goes, "This is a great way for us to sort of act like it's old times at Gata, like we were bros again."
Yeah.
Obviously, pending what happens, we will get to later. But just the fact that, again, Sam extending that olive branch even more. Hey, buddy, I'm not just not mad. I want you to be my partner for this challenge. And also, I wanted to talk to you all about this. What do you look at when you get a note like this in Survivor? Oh, you have to pair up. Do you immediately know we're going to be working together? Do you immediately think we are going to be put against each other? Do you think there's going to be both? I mean, what is the perfect choice here?
My choice would be what Sam actually said after Andy's confessional, which is, I'd want to pick someone I know I can beat, and I feel like I can beat him. That's where I would go. I'd want someone that I know that is somewhat strong, but also I feel like I am slightly stronger in all round.
Do you think they knew about what happened in 40? Was it 46 where they kind of did something like this, or was it 45 where
45.
it was 45?
Oh, no, they did. No, they did do 46.
Oh, okay, where there was a stage challenge
Yeah,
and people who got out lost their vote. I wonder if they saw that, because as soon as it said the pairs thing on the paper, I was like, oh, I think I know where this is going. But I mean, to your point, Phil, it could change at any moment. We don't know when they're going to change things up and suddenly it's you're against your partner. But the way that I think about it is that this is individual immunity. You are against everyone, no matter what. So like, I wouldn't worry too much about who I'm up against in that regard. I mean, unless there were like 2 immunity necklaces, but I think I would still go with who do I think I'm a good physical pairing with, even if they are more of a challenge beast.
Because we see what happens here, right? Because Ollie, I'm with you. I think that I would think the same way. Immediately I'd go, okay, let me pair with someone that I can beat, but hopefully they can be a sort of help. But we saw, I mean, Andy has struggled in almost every single challenge of this season. And for Sam to pick him and go, hey, dude, I could beat this guy in the end, I think that's smart when you're thinking about getting to the end, but they didn't get close. And why? It's because this is the most Andy screw up in a challenge I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Wait.
Every single way that he screws up in a challenge feels so unique to him. You can't even look at it and be like, oh, well, buddy, you should have gone to the gym more before you went out there. Oh, you should have done more grip strength like Charlie. It is like, there's like these absolute unique ways of screwing something up.
He's like the Lucille Ball of Survivor or something like that, or like the Charlie Chaplin. Like, the physical comedy is incredible.
Yeah.
And just to throw it up here, Frank, that's the take, right? Never choose the weakest player, because you need to get to the last stage. Should that be the new thing? Because I'm with you too, Frank, at this point, because you get someone like Gabe, who ended up choosing Kyle. Kyle's been absolutely slaughtering these challenges. And Gabe goes, hey, I'm going to pick Kyle and hope that I can get to the end. He's good at challenges, and let's see if I can beat him when I get there. You know?
No, Kyle chose Gabe.
I think that I do remember at the mat, Kyle did talk about choosing Gabe.
Yeah.
Either way, we got the confessional from Gabe, and we got the confessional from Kyle.
Oh,
and,
right,
and Gabe said in his confessional, I wanted to be with Kyle because he is good at challenges. Who wouldn't want to be with Kyle? And so I think that is a good way to think about it. When you get to the end, worry about it then. Get your reward, even if you lost. That's my thought.
I agree with this. And back onto Sam real quick. I do think it was smart that I feel like there's a psychological factor here, which was that he I think when you work together with someone, that's the last thing you remember about them. Yes, Andy did vote against Sam and Sierra last episode, but by them working together too, that's the last impression that they have together. So I think it was smart and great for Sam, even though this happened, which we have a poll about this, so I feel like I should save it for then how I felt about this.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
But, we have 4 I love this photo. We have 4 people who lost their vote. I think I'd be feeling the exact same way because, they're not happy. And Sue, oh my gosh, this was so good.
Yeah.
Like action movie hero landing.
And she did that at age 45.
That's hilarious. I just want to just quick shout out to Sue. Sue has absolutely been dogging all these challenges, and from day one, carrying that giant puzzle piece on her back. Right. We saw her at the start of this challenge. She's digging as hard as Genevieve, if not harder. I mean, really, really, really deserves some kudos. 45 is hilarious. What's the next slide?
We have the final 4 taking on the immunity challenge. I think it was very exciting that Kyle made it there because, as we know, Kyle's been dominating the challenges.
So good.
And I think, doesn't it come down to Kyle and Gabe?
It
Yeah.
does
Yes.
indeed.
Because Salentini are the first two out. So that
Yeah.
was fascinating.
They all did
Also-
great though. They all did really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
In terms of the editing, do we remember that little montage of when they were like, you have to dig deep, and it was literally just a montage of Teeny going. I was like, they did her so dirty during that montage.
I mean, that's how I would probably be reacting
Yeah,
in
try
the
it.
moment. It's that this one, I'd be cramping. I'd have Charlie horse. It would
I'd
be
still
over.
love to do it.
It shows grit, Ollie. It shows grit. It's not always going to be a glamour shot, you know?
Right.
Well, actually, no. Because to be fair, 44. When this challenge came on in 44, there was a little Trump, a fart, shall we say? Do we remember?
Oh, what
Yes,
was
Danny
Yeah.
farted. Yep.
Oh God.
We did Sammy. 44, we got that, and then later on in the episode, we got burp. So full circle.
Oh yeah,
Look at that.
God.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I
Okay. We have to talk about.
I
We have to talk
know.
about Gabe's dance.
Yeah,
Come on.
Gabe won and then gave us a dance. Which was it a reference to an athlete? Is that what I saw?
Yes. Yeah. It was a reference to Ray Lewis, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think it's really funny to throw in something super niche like that. I didn't like that the necklace fell off his neck. Points deducted. Sorry.
It feels like, I don't know if any of you have seen the movie like Bring It On, but they have like this like spirit
Of
stick,
course.
and
Yes.
it's a curse if it falls on the floor. And I felt
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, do not drop the immunity necklace. I gasped when it happened.
Yeah, I think my eyes immediately darted to Jeff to see how he reacted. I was like, at this point, I don't care about the rest of the dance. I want to see if Jeff gets like pissed or if you see him like flinch. Because I'm like you, man. I was like, no, he did not just drop the
Yeah.
freaking necklace. Like, what? You can't do that. It's sacred. You know what I mean? Come on.
I don't
People
care
don't
how
care.
much people. I don't care how much people don't like that necklace. You don't drop the immunity necklace
You don't drop it, even if it's a wicked bat, right?
Or a log.
or a log.
Yeah.
Or a
Ugh.
log.
We love it. We love
Shout
it.
out
Again,
Nigel.
go check out, if you haven't already, the immunity idol, the immunity log from UK Survivor. That was, love it.
Sir Kingsley.
Sir Kingsley. Then we have the journey, which we find out is that 3 people, no matter what, are guaranteed to get their vote back.
Right. I think we just really quick. I think we breezed past the fact that Jeff told us, from what Jeff told everybody, 4 people had the potential to lose their votes. What was your reaction when you first heard that? Ollie, let's start with you.
I was ready to smack him both ways. Like, it just annoys me at this point.
I knew you were gonna hate this. I knew it.
This is the thing. There are times where I don't mind. I've said this. There are times I don't mind people losing their votes. At this stage in the game, no. Like, don't do it. I appreciated the fact that in the end it was, oh no, you are guaranteed to, at least 3 of you are guaranteed your vote back. Okay, fine. But I still don't like the fact there is this dynamic of, no, you can still lose your vote.
Matt?
Pre-merge, early merge, fine. Not now.
I am very much against taking away votes for getting out in a challenge. Like, I think losing immunity is enough. Like, I don't think you have to lose your vote too just because of something. But that being said, what annoyed me about this was that it was never going to be up to 4 people without their vote. It was always going to be 1 person without their vote. So it was like, I was like, why even? Oh, so weird. Sorry. Yeah.
Can I say that was my favorite part about this? This was a major Survivor troll. And I think that this shows, genuinely, it shows how in tune they are with their audience, that they know they're like, oh my God, we're going to put this in here. People are going to go absolutely bat crap wild. I don't know if we can put on here, so I'm going to say bat crap wild. And people are going to lose their minds. And they did on Twitter, on Reddit. I think like in a commercial break, there must have been over 300 tweets of people absolutely losing their minds. And it happening again on the Central airing and again on the West Coast airing. Like I personally found that so funny because it didn't actually amount to 4 people losing their vote. There was never a chance for 4 people to lose their vote. It was an inside fun with the fandom. I think it shows that they pay attention. Ollie, please.
So what you're telling me is you were looking at the social media.
Oh, so this is the truth.
Right.
This is, and can I tell you right now? Thank you, Ollie. Thank you for saying that. This is exactly why they did it. You two both know I am not huge on being all on Survivor Twitter, all that stuff. When I saw the cliffhanger here, 4 people potentially losing their votes, I immediately was like, "Oh, I gotta see what people are saying. I got it. I mean, it's just it's interesting. It's interesting.
You know what's funny is our Survivor Now group chat was also going off about this.
Yeah.
We so some of you might not know this, but we're all in different time zones. So like we hide the bubbles from each other so that no one gets spoiled on anything.
And thank you for not making me and Ollie feel bad, because it's mostly for us. I think that most of us are on the East Coast, and then Ollie and I are
I'm not even in the group chat.
Yes, I didn't want to call that out. He's the only one not in the group chat, but it is simply because why is he not in the group chat?
Because it's very US centric.
Yeah. But sometimes I take the information and I'm like, Ollie, here's what's going down.
Right. By the way, I think this is hilarious. Production had bets on how many comments they would get. I mean, truly, probably. But to move forward here, we have glorified triangle Jenga. What are our thoughts about this?
It was cute.
Reverse Jenga.
Okay.
It was totally fine. It was cute. I thought out of everything that they could have done, it was fine. I think it was a little like, I think we need something here, everyone. Like, what are we gonna do here? What are we gonna do that leaves one person as the loser? But it was fine.
I actually loved it. I loved it. I really did. Something that's even all around. It's balanced. It's not like the stronger people get an advantage, the weaker people don't, or the smarter.
Right.
It's literally like, hey, it's better than a cardinal game. It is an at-home tabletop game. You all know it. You know,
it's
you've
chance.
done it.
Chance.
Yeah. But I don't think it's complete chance. Like, there is strategy that you can play, but I don't think it's based too much on what you're coming there with, you know?
Like, speaking of strategy, I don't have the image here, but I think someone set Rachel up to fail because she had an impossible I don't know how that happened. I don't have the photo, unfortunately, but what an impossible thing to pull off, which was her putting like not even an edge. She put the piece on like something that like there was no floor under it.
Yeah.
I was worried for her at that point, and I was like, the fact that she did it. And then what made it even sweeter was you had the hyped woman, Caroline, like, epic! Yeah! I think I've seen this on like Survivor Social or somewhere. Everyone needs a Caroline in their life just to walk them around and like hype them up. Just love it.
I have totally been drawn to Caroline as of late, and I'm going to be completely honest. She is one of those contestants that at the beginning of the season, it felt like a little bit more of a wallflower character. She wasn't absolutely, grabbing us through the screen like certain people. And once again, certain people that I don't think were absolute, objective, positive, people on the show. I mean, Rome is someone that I think annoyed a lot of people, but whether you liked it or not, Rome is never going to be a wallflower. I think that Caroline had the chance to be someone that really faded into the background, easily forgotten about, and she has not been that at all. She pops, and I love that she has this fun little quirk where, she's just so excited about the people to her left and right. It is like, it's funny because I think that when she's typically talking, she's actually a pretty, I say this with love, like a monotone, not very big expression person. But when she's talking about other people's wins, other people's victories, she lights up. She is she's the most animated talking about other people doing good things. And I got that really,
same impression from her too. Like I also felt similarly about her at the beginning of the game, but she's so funny. Did you all notice? I don't have this photo either, but when they were all, and I guess Roy, this kind of to your comment here, when they were all entering the challenge, like, did you notice that the three of them, Rachel, Andy, and Sam, were all like so ahead of Caroline, behind on the rocks? I was like, where was she?
I did. Yeah, I'm like, oh, interesting. And same thing. I was like, are they showing us this because this is just like what happened and they have the footage, or is this like intentional? Is she gonna like really gas out in a physical challenge later on where it's like really close? Like, I don't know. She was definitely way far behind them.
Like,
but I will say some of their shots were really good though. because there was like
always
that big shot of everyone.
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
if we have it, but it was.
We
I liked
don't,
that
but
one.
that was cool. They did use that to their
Mhm.
advantage. The scenery around them. Why don't we take a very quick break, and then when we come back, I think the episode takes a drastic turn, and I'm so excited to talk about all that fun strategy.
Think you're the most knowledgeable Survivor superfan? Well, you can put that to the test with our Fantasy Survivor game. Welcome to Bracketology, fantasy sports for reality TV. We provide fantasy football style games for your favorite shows like Survivor and many more. We also have bracket style elimination challenges. Set your picks once for the whole season to see how your prediction skills fared. And don't forget to check out the season extras like contestant info, where you can see all the bios of each contestant, and our scoring recaps that are published each episode. Download the Bracketology mobile app or play on your computer at fantasy.bracketology.tv. It's entirely free to play, and you can win some awesome prizes. Good luck.
Okay. I also want to give a shout out to Georgette. I know Georgette isn't able to join us on the live sometimes, but I saw your comment on our last video. Thank you so much for supporting us. As always, we do love having our live chat with us, but if you ever cannot make it, we understand. We appreciate any comments that you leave after the fact as well. So going into this portion, I'm just going to admit I had trouble putting these in chronological order because so much happened. But basically, the crux of this is Genevieve, who you can see talking to Rachel over here, is targeting Saul.
Woohoo. Genevieve is an absolute super genius, in my opinion. She is the top strategy mover, shaker of this entire season. And man, this was a huge swing. I think that we have to talk about, I mean, we're going to get to it soon, eventually, if this was worth it at all. But in my opinion, she was really flexing what she is able to do. I fear that it might have been a little bit too early, but it was genuinely so impressive to watch her have the idea and then mobilize and actually do something and have it actually pay off. It was actually pretty insane.
We'll see. I had that feeling too, where I was like, "At what cost?" You know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was needed, but it was very, very nice to watch. Fun, entertaining.
It was fun because Rachel ends up confirming it to Sam that Saul is the name. This was a wild shot. This was a wild camera shot.
This is insane, and I do want to take it step by step. If we can not jump too far forward here. Everything was boxed up perfectly for Genevieve. She was going one by one to people, one by one, and getting their approval of this plan. And yeah, I'm down to go with it. And she told one too many people. She did not need to tell. I don't think she needed to tell Rachel per se, but it's hard to say that last person. I think that she picked the wrong last person here. What did you think watching this whole thing, Ollie?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I will say, I think Sam did a really good job at clocking the dynamic, to be honest, because I remember this scene and I remember it was just both of them sat there and he was kind of going what he was saying, it was like, well, he's figured it out. And Rachel was just going, because it's like, he's kind of just clocked it. And I appreciated it. I don't necessarily think she told one too many people. I just think Rachel just decided to tell the wrong person, personally. I feel like Rachel including, because Genevieve said, we can include you, we're not sure on Sam yet. Rachel told Sam, not Genevieve, so I don't fault Genevieve for it per se.
Right, but Genevieve told Rachel. Genevieve gave Rachel all the tools to tell Sam. And so I think that's the mistake there, right? And I mean, especially knowing that these two were the only two people to not vote off Sierra last time around. I guess technically, there's, I guess, a little bit more fuzziness there. But I do think that there was a way to detect, hey, Sam and Rachel could still be, the two together. They could still be standing strong as Gata.
Yeah, I think, because I think when I watched this back, because it was Because I remember kind of Rachel saying, like, I know a plan, I can't tell you it. I don't want it to risk it leaking. So I think she was trying to give him enough, and I think what the one step for her that was too much is when he said, "Is it Sol?" and she couldn't really I think she just said, "Mm-hmm." Had she kind of said or lied and said no, it was a sticky spot. I understand for Rachel.
Definitely,
she was probably in like an impossible situation.
Yeah.
This fell out of Rachel's control to me a little bit in the way that she's kind of half in, half out with giving Sam this information, which I don't think was a good look. I mean, Frank, yeah, you're right. Wait, why did it scroll up? Snitches get stitches. So, not a good look for Rachel. I mean, by the way, Roy, nice fire reflection in Rachel's glasses during this convo. I like it. Looking out for the future. You can't wear glasses on Survivor because that means you're making fire. And Bridget, good to see you. Welcome. So, look, I think with this, I wish Rachel either was fully committed to bringing Sam into this or just didn't mention anything at all. And in terms of Genevieve, I agree with the fact that I think telling Rachel was a mistake because I forget who said it, but whoever's point was that they were the only two, Sam and Rachel. Thanks, Phil. Sam and Rachel saying that they were left out of the Sierra vote. The people on the bottom are going to try to find numbers. And who is the easiest person to have a number with? The person who also is blindsided.
Yeah. And I think this is just what I will say. People are playing, and that's what's fun. People are not just letting one person rule the table. And for to Sam's credit here, for him to even go for this swing was like very, very ambitious, especially knowing you hear from Sol's exit interviews how close him telling Sol about this was to tribal council. Like, this was a huge swing for Sam. And he must have known that this was going to get messy as all crap. He has a confessional talking about, I knew this was going to start chaos. So thank you for the entertainment, Sam. But boy, this was a risk.
This shot, this was a continuous shot from Sam's close-up to him getting up after talking to Rachel, going straight to Sol.
Crazy. I mean, how the fact that they have that is wild. Ollie, you look like you wanted to say something there.
No, I think, wasn't it, didn't he go to Andy first?
No, I think
he went
Did he go to Sol? This is what I mean, it was so confusing.
Sol was walking right past him. Sol walked right past him and Rachel talking and said, "Sam, can I talk to you when you have a minute?" And he goes, "Yeah, I have a minute right now." Gets up and tells him. It's literally wild.
Do you think Rachel's heart sank when that happened? I feel like my heart would have sank if she saw it.
Yeah, I probably would, because I think because she kind of did say to him, "Please don't tell anyone." And the fact that within seconds he did, I would if I was Rachel, part of me would have turned around to Sam and been like,
Rachel knew immediately what had happened. That is my understanding. Rachel knew immediately what had happened because at the end of the day, just for Sam to be so eager to get up, Sam could have gone, "Sure, Sol, yeah, give me a minute." And gone, "Hey, it's about 15 minutes before tribal. Let me stall here. Let's look like we're still talking." But instead he goes, "Yeah, sure, no problem, Sol. Sorry, Rachel. I'll be back." That, immediately, I think Rachel was like, "Oh, crap. It is dusted up. It's over. So I felt really bad for her there. In my opinion, Matt, you said that she was sort of helpless in this scenario. I think that at that point she was helpless. I think prior to this, simply sitting and talking to Sam, she does not have to give away as much information as she did.
Well, that's where my point. I think she got played.
Yeah, she did get played. She did. And I think that, Sam sitting there, playing the, "Come on, you remember us. Gata. You can trust me." And I think that, again, she's talking to someone who probably has some of the best reads on her because he's been with her since the start of the whole season. Mm-hmm. So it was just yes, I guess. So yes, to your point, recipe for disaster. The second that he started sort of negging her for more information.
Oh, but they get it to a point where I found this funny. So Sam is like, all right, we're gonna put it on Sue. And I love how he goes, this want to blow up the game. This made me think of that meme that's like Debbie Ryan, I think is her name, where she's like, I went
Yeah.
into Disney Channel and I sat down and I said, I want to make history. And that's what I did.
Yes.
Like, that's what this is giving me.
It is
and,
giving that.
oh, so much happened. So it's between like Sue and Kyle are the names that keep getting brought up, right?
Right. But sorry, go ahead, Ollie. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, I wrote down the amount of names that were said during this sequence. Sam, Sol, Gabe, Sue, Kyle.
Wow.
All of the names that were mentioned,
Yeah.
even if it was just a quick second.
Yeah, and just really quick, Matt, if we can go back one more slide, go back to the Andy Sam. This is okay. This is when things get absolutely nutty. After Sam leaks to Saul, things get bananas, and yes, it becomes incredibly hard to follow, and not just for the people on the island, for us too. And all these names are being thrown out. And I think what is really interesting is that Andy, weirdly enough, has Max information. More than anybody else, Andy has Max information. Think about it. Andy is one of the few people that Genevieve went up to and gave the original plan to. Hey, we're going to flip on Saul. This is what's happening. Don't tell certain people. This is the plan. Can I trust you? And then he has Sam going up to him and saying, hey, they want to vote off Saul. I think that it's, I think it's Tuku.
Yeah.
And they're pulling one. We need to pull in Genevieve, Teeny, and blah, blah, blah. I think at this point, Andy is going, holy crap. Sam does not realize that Genevieve is the person going after Saul because he's listing Genevieve as a person that they have to bring in. I found that so interesting. Andy could have blown it up a third time if he really wanted to. I mean, really. He had all the information. Yeah, he had all the information. No one else had all the info because even Teeny was not looped in to the fact that Genevieve was the one out to get Saul. Exactly, right here. Apparently, Tuku is voting for Saul. We need to vote Sue. It just got so chaotic, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh my God, the Max information lies in the hands of Andy. God bless everyone's soul.
But this is why I'm slightly not as worried for Genevieve, because everyone was putting the blame on Tuku. But since you kind of even mentioned there that Andy had the maximum information, obviously Andy could easily go and confirm like, oh no, this was all Genevieve's plan. But if he's wanting to work with Genevieve like he is, I don't think he would. I think it would be someone like Tuku, but unfortunately Tuku have the reputation that they have. So I think if Tuku did anything about it, Genevieve would go, okay, then, well, these people. So I don't know whether it would have been as bad, but again, that's just my view.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't think that it's a guarantee. I don't think it's a guarantee that she's going to be completely sold down the river, but I do think that there is a heavy chance. I really think there's a heavy chance. Also, thank you, Roy Jolly. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, Phil, I got chills during that because I don't even think I put two and two together about how much Andy was at the center of this and how much power he truly had. I think he took the correct approach with this. I think putting his name out in here any way, shape, or form would have been dangerous. But I mean, I think that what I heard from you is someone knows that Genevieve made a move, it could come back and get her. Even though people in this moment seem to think it was Tuku that was putting this out there. I mean, it was just amazing, and they're all talking, and Saul's trying to get everyone. And
oh my God, can I just say I would not have wanted to be Saul in this scenario. No. Saul hears this 15 minutes before Tribal. He has to go and try to rewrite something that has been written, this book has been started, eons before it even got to him, and he's trying to rewrite everything, and he does not even know who to go to. He has the complete wrong information for who is plotting against him, and one of the main people that he's dragging to help him rewrite this is the person who started it. I think he was in the catch-22 position. Nothing he could have done. Nothing he could have done.
It broke my heart. It did break my heart because I know he was trying so hard, and I don't fault him for anything. He, to your point, Phil, it was really such a tough place to be at, and I didn't realize how close to tribal council this all really was. It just, I mean, I guess you can see that the sun is kind of down in, like, the lighting is different here than it was earlier, but like, wild, absolutely wild. And you're right. At this point, it's just like being in a dark tunnel and being like, okay, how do I get out of this? I don't know which direction I'm going in, but I'm just going to try.
What does he do? What can he do? Especially with the misinformation. If he had the right information, he has a fat chance, but a chance. In this scenario, he doesn't even have the right info on who is after him. I really felt bad for him. And the only thing that I was hoping, and this is sort of what I thought might have happened. Yeah. I thought Genevieve might have gone home this episode if Andy met up with Saul and said, Saul, Genevieve is not with you. She's the one that came to me with this plan. That would have been awful. And thank you. I mean, Frank, you know, we're sort of volleying it back and forth. Frank over here, he believes Genevieve is done. That tribe is going to connect the dots, and all trails lead to sneaky Genevieve. And that at this point is sort of where, that's why I do sort of push back a little bit towards you, Ollie, because I think that there is enough information within the leftover people for them to realize this was entirely Genevieve's fault. We also have the confessional from Gabe, where Gabe goes, this is Genevieve's idea. Gabe knows it from Tuku. Genevieve obviously is a representative from Lavu that knows, and Andy knows from Gata. I think that this is going to sprinkle through. But yeah, poor Saul. This was sad.
I like the point that you brought up, Phil, before about like, well, what does Saul do? And in a way, I think he subconsciously did the best thing, in my opinion, which is to cause the most confusion as possible to hopefully land some votes on someone else.
Yeah, but just to throw this out there, I want to know what you two think about this. Did he throw out the right name? He threw out Sue. Should he have thrown out Kyle? Should he have thrown out Gabe? What do you think, Ollie?
The necklace.
I feel like at least he's wearing the necklace.
Oh, that's right. Not Gabe. I'm sorry, Kyle.
Possibly Kyle, yeah, just because obviously I think Kyle potentially could have been an easier swing from a physical standpoint. But I also understand why Sue, because Sue has been Gabe's little minion for the entire game. So I can see why she... Yeah. I even want to say disappointingly so, because lie, I did have higher expectations for Sue, and sadly they're not meeting them. But yeah, I think Kyle could have been an easier option for the immunity thing, but I understand why he threw Sue's name out. I just think, again, he wasn't aware of all of the connections, like how close Genevieve and Sue had gotten.
Curious to know on that point, Ollie, where do you think Sue is going wrong? Why specifically it sounds like working with Gabe?
Well, I think it's how she is overprotecting him. I think because it's like, I understand that, like, okay, this is like my close ally, like I need to do whatever, but I think Sue is a very narrow-minded player to me, in the sense of like, Kyle voted for her. This entire season it's been screw Kyle, Kyle's annoying, I'm not giving him a chance. Tiana makes one comment about Gabe, screw Tiana, hate Tiana, Soul mentions Gabe. Oh, can't deal with him now, got to blindside him, he's got to go, and it's like, no one's actually, like, if someone had said, like, it's the fact that it's all been someone else's name, understand loyalty, completely understand loyalty. But if this person is getting that much of a target, I'd be there and I'd be like, right, I've kind of at least got to try and disassociate myself, because everyone knows you're this like big tight alliance with them.
And to add on to that, because I agree with every word Ali just said and then some, because I think that on top of that, even when people go up to her to have her vote for someone who is not even Gabe, she says, and I hope that we get to this, talking about this chaotic tribal council, there's a point in time where someone goes up to her and pitches Kyle, I believe. And she says, we have to run it by Gabe. I'm not going to vote outside of Gabe. That is insanity. For you to want to protect your ally, that's one thing. If I go, hey, I tied my wagon to Ali, he's an additional vote for me, he helps me in this game, I don't want to vote against him, that's one thing. But for me, if someone comes up to me and goes, hey, I want you to vote another way, it's not even for Ali, we're going to vote Randy. Can we agree on that? And I go, I cannot even agree on that if I don't talk to Ali about it. That is now limiting my...
Can confirm, yes. Go for it.
It is. We love you, Randy. We love you, Randy. But it is impeding on my ability to even play my own game. It's messed up. If I decide, hey, I want to strap to Ali, that's one thing. But for me to not even take anything into account without running it by him, at that point, Ali is my boss. And to your point, Ali, it was very insulting in a way to hear how Gabe talks about Sue. And I think at this point, it is actually he's right. And she's proving him right. And that's what's really sad. I've said many times, I like Gabe, but I have said he is so patronizing. He is a bit pompous about how he talks about Caroline quite a bit pompous about how he talks about Caroline and Sue. It's not really necessarily kind. But guess what? If you've got Sue who really is gonna, if she wants to be cozy in your pocket, hey, talk about her more like that. That's where I'm at this point. It's a shame. I'm with you, Ali. I saw more in Sue. I wanted Sue to figure it out and go, I don't like him talking about me like that. But even when Kyle gave her the heads up, she didn't care.
Nope.
So it's on her.
Roy in our comments also expected more as well. And I think I'm glad we made this distinction here, because I do think that it does feel like there's a difference between being in an alliance with someone and then what the dynamic here is with Gabe, Sue, and Caroline. So yes. I'm glad we talked about that, because it was worth discussing and worth looking at. And great call out in terms of Sue needing to run everything by Gabe first. So this tribal council, Jeff was pretty much taking a break. This tribal council, the whispering started immediately, and I think what scared me, I wouldn't like to be there with, who was it, Sam and Teeny, that were looking at each other being like, is it Kyle or is it Sue? That would freak me out.
Especially because I mean, there was so much talking, there was communication through eyes, through mouthing words, completely across tribal. And yes, it started immediately. And it's all happening while you're answering your question. You saw what happened to poor Tiana weeks before. Yeah. When you're answering a question from Jeff, you're trying to be attentive to him, and you know that there is a bunch of business and busyness going on all around you. That is terrifying. I feel like I would have to be like, I'm so sorry, Jeff. Give me a minute. What's going on back here? What are y'all talking about? What are you whispering about? If you're whispering, I want to know about it. What is going on? So it is. I really enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it. I don't think that it is. Throwback to what was it? Season 37, I think. Edge of Extinction, when there was just a little bit too much live tribals and you didn't even know what was going on. I felt like I could follow. There was confusion, but I could follow it.
I agree with that. There was a point in time where I was like, y'all just sit down and listen to Jeff, at these type of live tribals. But now I kind of like it. Now I get it, especially when the buildup has been this confusing. Yes. And this just you need to feel out who everyone's voting for. Because I felt like a lot of people were, well, actually, no. Depending on how the vote came out, I think people were more decided. Then I don't know why there was so much discussion that's where. What do you think, Ollie?
So I feel like the group of Genevieve, Sue, Gabe, Caroline and that,
Andy,
you could kind of tell that they were a bit more cool, calm, and collected, because it was especially with when Genevieve got asked a question and she did the really good analogy of info versus noise, and it's deciphering what is the info that's coming to me versus what is just the noise that's coming through my ear. And I think that showed that regardless of the mad scramble that occurred, she was fully fine in the plan. And all it was kind of this for her was, okay, if there's going to be a mad scramble, I'm going to make sure that all the other people who originally I wasn't planning on bringing in, just everyone vote for Sol. And I think that's kind of probably what occurred. And I think, again, that's why I think it helped Genevieve that she was a bit more calm.
Yeah, it's really hard to say what happened here, Matthew. It is really hard to say what happened here because you see absolute pandemonium, complete confusion, and then you see a unanimous vote. And whenever that happens, it is, I mean, to Caroline's point, right? What is strategy? What is actually trying to talk and figure something out? And what is noise? And I think that there is a level of this tribal where the people that we saw talk to Genevieve about voting Sol were always voting Sol. And there was never, ever, ever anything different. And I think that there were people that were very scared at this tribal. I mean, you see so many times Teeny look over and go, I would love, Teeny looked lost this tribal.
Yeah.
She had no clue what was going on. And I think that when you see someone like that person, guess what? They're not making a decision because they don't know what's going on. So we are just going to we're going to just spread this out. Oh, Sol. I heard Kyle enough where I thought that it might have been Kyle, but it really was. It's wild to see that it was completely unanimous.
It surprised me, and Frank, I was waiting to get to this point, but you brought it up. I thought that Sue should have played it.
Huh? For Sol?
No, for her. I thought that. I wasn't there. I was not there, so I don't know really what it would feel like in the moment. But I thought exactly what Frank said. I was like, Sue's not participating in the whispering, and her name is being thrown around in a way. I'm surprised it didn't seem like it got to her here in this environment. But I was waiting for her to take the idol out. And she didn't, which let's face it, she has it for another day. So that is a good thing. But I was nervous for her for a second. I was just like, I don't want you going home with an idol.
Yeah. It's hard to see what she should have done with that or what she could have done with that. I sort of see. In fact, I see what you're saying there, Frank. At the same time, though, isn't that what you want to look like at Tribal? Don't you want to look like you know what's going on and you have structure and you're comfortable versus with Love, once again, what Teeny and Sol looked like. They looked like they looked lost. And you're not going to listen to that person. You're going to listen to the person that's sitting in their stool being like, dude, we're good. Trust me. This person. I think the person running around, you're running around like chickens with if everyone's doing that, that's one thing. But the fact that there were a group of people that were sitting down, you're right. Sue did not move. Kyle did not get up. The people that did not move were people that you knew were going to be voting for Sol. So when you see everyone else moving around, it goes, okay, Caroline didn't move. You go, okay, let them all move around. We know who we're voting. We know who we're voting for. And so once you find out who they're voting for, the people that are moving around go, okay, well, let's just glom to that because they look like they're confident. They haven't even moved. So I think that there are two ways of looking at it.
Oh, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that, Phil. I mean, that's awesome. And I do just, it makes me worry that she's not going to know when she has to play it. Like when it's going to be her downfall. If she doesn't make it to the end, if that's what happens. But fun tribal. I was not upset at how we got to this tribal, but I was
Let's see the picture.
Was to see Sol.
Oh, no, not Sol.
Sol is maybe top 5 new era player for me. Maybe top 3. And just in terms of, and definitely I feel like Sol makes it into my top 10 players overall. Because
you want him on 50. Sol for 50.
I really want Sol on 50. I thought I like him. I like him, and I think also because I did happen to meet him at a watch party. There's that element too. I just thought he was so great to meet in real life. But even on the show, I just really liked this guy, and I liked how I thought the way that he handled the Rome situation. I thought was brilliant and showed a lot of emotional intelligence. Strategy-wise, I think that was an area where there could be improvement, but I don't think he did poorly at all.
No.
And I think you also have to remember, for so much of Saul's game, he was operating on a lack of information. And I think that he was still doing decent. I think I would love to see Saul back with more information, with more people that are able to trust him, seeing how he played the first time. And I think that Saul would do really, really even better. I mean, really, really well. I agree with you, Matt. I think that, honestly, Saul might be one of the most universally liked contestants in the new era. I think he's so easy to like. He's not offensive, but he's also not. He doesn't feel like he just plays the game safe, or he's just trying not to piss people off. Like he's being himself out there, and he is just he's an entertaining guy. He's an entertaining guy without throwing himself at the screen. You know, he is just himself. He's refreshing contestant.
Ollie, is there anything you would like to say about
Ollie? What is your deal?
No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking. No,
Well,
I
that
agree.
is, the Instagram reel, Ollie. Just that clip.
Bye, Saul. No, I'm joking. No, I agree with everything that you both said. I think Saul's definitely a universally liked player. Do I think he is top 5? Personally, no. But I think he still did a really good job. And I kind of agree with you, Phil. I could see him in kind of like a second chance season. And we'd be able to see how he does when he isn't in such a playing from the bottom situation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss him. Anyway, I just thought he was incredible, but now I think is a great time to move on over to see what the cast is saying about this episode in our segment, The Tribe Has Posted. Ollie, take us through.
Yeah, so as you know, I look at everyone's social medias because I love it. And the first thing we have is, firstly, I need to ask Matthew, Spark or Snuff?
Spark.
Of course.
Of course.
100%.
I am going to be the first one. Like, obviously, Sierra was showcasing her jury duty, and I do have another tweet from her later on. I loved Sierra on the jury this episode. Can I just also mention?
Wait, before we get into her, they had the jury walk in.
Yes.
Here's the first member of the jury. She walked in. I was like, oh, she's not just sitting there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Appreciate
Love it.
that. But yeah, I do just want to give her a shout out because when they talked about Caroline losing her vote,
that was so funny.
You had Sierra who just went, good.
But remind me, was Caroline like that involved with Sierra's vote out? I know she was,
I mean, I think it was probably just the fact that, it was kind of Tuku that did go for us. So she was probably she was probably just like, oh, it's a Tuku person? Good.
Got it.
Probably that. We know I love a petty moment, so. But no, this was just a couple of tweets from Sierra, who is still very active on social, which I love. The next one is Saul, and it's just his remarks on socials, just about going. A lot of love, very grateful. And the on the one on the left, which I thought was quite good. What?
Liked by I'm the Fink.
Oh, yes. So the bottom one, the last bit is, now it's time for the Queen, Sierra Wright, and King of Ponderosa to set the tone, which I thought was very interesting, and I did kind of like that, because I think they are two good people to set the tone for Ponderosa. I think they're going to set a very good tone, I feel like. But yes, this was just Saul giving his praises. Funny enough, I must have missed it if I did, but I didn't see anyone kind of send it, like any castaways. And when I say castaways, I mean Asia. I was waiting to see a response from Asia, and I didn't. So just saying Asia, I clocked it. And then the next slide is 2 tweets that I saw, one from Teeny, one from Sierra, which I really wanted to comment on, because, again, why people feel like they need to judge a certain demographic is beyond me. But everyone was kind of like dogging Teeny a little bit for voting Saul. And I feel like Teeny did a very good job of explaining the reasons why they voted for Saul. And I love the little call out at the end. And I think that's what Phil just read.
Yes, it is. That is so funny.
And then this one of Sierra, where it's Some call it bitter. Some say your survivor dreams were just ripped from your heart 24 hours ago. And I think that is a good reminder for people. Yes, Sierra had literally just been voted out of the game. So yeah, she's going to be petty. If you're going to sit there and say you're not going to be petty 24 hours out of the game, shut up.
Yeah, it wasn't a week ago. Like, we see the episodes weekly. It was literally the next day for her.
Yeah, and that's why when I look at some of the toxic fans, I just would love for them to, as Teeny says, read a textbook and listen to a podcast.
What did y'all think of Teeny's decision to, because she seems, as we were talking about, very lost at that tribal council. So I thought any name could have gone down on that paper. So, I mean, good on Teeny for being in the right vote. But I found it interesting that I guess really none of the other plans, I guess we already talked about it, but none of the other plans really felt solid.
Yeah, I think she did the right thing.
Mm-hmm. And is this it, or is the polls next?
Yes, so the polls are next. So just a reminder for people, we put polls up on X. Do
you want me to show it, or do you want to do a surprise?
No.
Okay.
Do the surprise, because I like it when Phil does it. So
yeah, come on. What are you doing here, Matthew? What is going on?
The first question, or the first poll question we posted was it fair for Jeff to hold Sam and Andy responsible for their bag tearing during the challenge? The
Absolutely. Yes. Sorry. That's my answer already.
It's my answer too.
So your yes, their problem. I don't know. They're just strong. And no production's fault.
Answer is absolutely.
No.
Well,
what?
I don't agree with it either. Sorry, fans. No production's fault. Sorry.
What?
In my opinion,
not production's fault. It's not.
It's not production's fault that Andy has just that much of a bad luck.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I do think, genuinely, I hate to say it, I think bad fortune is something that can be a part of your story, and it's like, so long as production did not have their singular bag be perforated, which I don't think is the case. I think this is completely how it should have played out. What do you think, that they should have stopped and then everyone's put on ice and then you have to go again? I just don't.
No.
I don't think that you should ever stop a challenge unless someone is vehemently breaking the rules or in case someone is hurt. I think those are the only times that you actually, if they stopped for this, I think it'd be very silly.
And I mean, I don't blame Sam and Andy, because I think in the moment with the adrenaline, it's like, you're just like, it broke, but I do think
it's an accident.
It's an accident. And it was just, they were eager. They saw that the bag was there and they were eager to pull it out, even if they hadn't fully dug around it enough to loosen it up, as I think everyone else did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think Frank just said it there. Bad technique.
Oh,
I mean, probably the wrong technique that we saw on that thing, which we didn't talk about, but that's fine. Because again, poor Andy having bad camera angles.
It's funny, but I'm just like, production, let him be a little bit.
It's just funny. So the next poll question was, who instigated all the chaos initially? So the options were Sam, Soul, Genevieve, someone else.
Sam.
I was very tempted to put Andy
Sam
as well.
100% Sam. It's got to be.
All right. And they said
Sam. 47% said Sam, 41% said Genevieve. Which
that's really strong.
I found that strong. And only 12% said someone else, and I was intrigued to know who the someone else was, and I was waiting for people to comment, and they didn't.
Yeah, I honestly just... I think the votes on Genevieve are surprising. That's all I'll say.
I think Genevieve just came up with a plan. And if Sam didn't expose the plan, the chaos wouldn't have been there. So the instigator is Sam. However, I was tempted to put someone else, because I also thought that, I'm not sure if it counts as instigating, but I think Rachel played a part in this as well. It definitely wasn't on purpose like I think Sam's was, but yeah, there you go, Frank. There you go. I think Rachel could have been included on here.
I was tempted, but there was obviously only 4 slots, so I couldn't put everyone. And the final poll that we have is, how would you react to whispers at tribal council? Now, the 3 statements are cool, calm, and collected, ignore it, just noise, or freak out and get involved?
Interesting.
Ooh, stumper.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I think the perfect answer is like you got to be aware of what's being whispered, but I think quote freak out and like get involved is not what I would like to pick because
Cut that out. The freak out part.
yeah. What are the first two though?
Cool, calm, and collected, and ignore just noise.
I think it's got to be cool, calm, and collected because I think ignoring it too is not always going to fare well. I think cool, calm, and collected.
I think
What do we got?
we learned about. Oh, well, here's the responses.
56% freak out and get involved.
I think getting involved is cool, but you can't freak out about it. Interesting.
But this shows that the fandom, this is what would happen if they got on the show. They just freak out and get involved.
It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Well, with that, I mean, this was a lot of fun. It was a fun episode. I was happy to talk about it. It was great. And you know what? Chaos. I wrote in the group chat when it was happening. I just loved all the chaos. But, I was trying to make a connection between chaos and Survivor Now, and it wasn't working. But we have so much. I was trying to be like, we have so much chaos, but it's not that.
Yeah.
We have so much on the docket. We have our Patreon, of course. If you would like to support the channel, that's always a great option. But of course, you just being here and partying with Ollie, Phil, and myself, that we love that too. So thank you so much again for being here. We also have some merchandise, which is a lot of fun. You can follow us on our accounts on social media. And don't forget, we're also on Spotify. But let's face it, you like to see our beautiful faces. And with that, I want to leave it on this note. Nope, not this one. This one.
Holy crap, that actually worked. That is a great, great, great one to leave it on. Genevieve, kudos.
Well, again, thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to end the episode here, but remember, we're going to be back here next Saturday to discuss episode 10 of Survivor 47.